joining us today. We always appreciate seeing all your lovely faces. I just want to give you a couple quick updates with some exciting things that we have going on at the hospital. We are currently underway with a couple renovation projects. So we are putting in $2.9 million into an OR and PACU as well as an ER renovation. That's going to expand our capabilities in terms of giving excellent patient care in the OR and allowing us to have additional space in the PACU, which is the recovery area for patients who are coming out of surgery. Hopefully you have not had to visit the ER, but if you have, you probably noticed that our emergency room needs a little bit of updating. So we're putting in quite a bit of work to update all of the finishes in the area and expand a couple patient rooms as well as redo nurses stations just to make it a little bit more aesthetically pleasing and also hopefully more comfortable for all of our patients. We are also doing a $2.93 million expansion to create a clinical decision unit. Some people know that as an observation unit, which will allow us to better care for patients who are lower acuity, so who aren't quite as sick. Most of those patients are going to be coming out of the ER who may not necessarily need to be admitted to the hospital for a higher level of care, but the clinical staff isn't comfortable sending them home yet, and they want to be able to observe them for a little bit longer just to make sure that their condition permits them to go home. So that will help us expedite care as well as give patients more one-on-one attention than if they were in a higher acuity level area. So those are just a couple things that we have coming up, and we're very proud to be sponsoring here, and thank you all for your support.
Okay, thank you, I appreciate that. We'll get that on the next time. So our next sponsor that we're so grateful to is the YMCA. And we have a gentleman here that he won an award for being the best, awesome, most person in the whole world kind of thing. Isn't that what it was? And he dances. Believe it or not, he's won 2 dance contests. He's a dad. He's an observer. He's the head honcho and observer. Other than that, he's just a good guy. So give him a round of applause, Corey.
All right, thank you, Don. Sorry for those of you that thought Jenna would be here. You're stuck with me again for another Bizcom. First off, the Y is very happy to be a sponsor for these Bizcom meetings. And a few quick updates. Last time I was here, I talked about Bridge Fest and how we added a special needs race. Big thanks to Memorial Hermann for sponsoring that race. It was a huge success. So if you get a chance, go to the YMCA's Facebook or go to the website, check out the video of some of those special needs participants. It had a huge impact on their lives, and you can look at the faces, you can look at the parents that were in attendance. It's something that the Y is very proud to do, and again, thank you to Memorial Hermann for making that possible. Along with special needs, our Miracle League registration is now open. So if you're not familiar with Miracle League, it's a baseball league for those with special needs. So if you know of anyone in the community, a family or a young person that would like to get involved, our registration is now open. And speaking of partnerships, a big thank you to Humble ISD and everyone that makes it possible. These baseball games take place at Humble High School. So if you know anyone with special needs, please reach out to the Y. You can contact myself or any other volunteer. We'd love to get you involved. And if you want to mentor or work with one of the young people, we have what's called a buddy system. So we can pair you up with a young person with special needs, and it's a really neat experience to watch what Miracle League brings out of these young people. Last but certainly not least, spring registration is open right now for all of our spring sports. So T-ball and soccer is what we're looking for. So if you got some kiddos who want to get them involved in T-ball and soccer, that registration is now open. Last but certainly not least, the Y is more than a gym. Many of you may be familiar with that, but there are many, many programs that help young people and others in our community. So I encourage you to find a way to get involved with the Y. It's our campaign season, so you'll see lots of fundraising things coming out. And as Don mentioned earlier, it's almost time for dancing for partners again. So we'll see some local community celebrities dancing at the Civic Center. And again, the Y is just thankful to be a sponsor of the Bizcom. Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much. So what I'd like to do right now, well, before that, Dwayne, can you come out for just a minute? Dwayne and Erica Johnson. There's several people here today that without them, we had never got started with Bizcom. First, the gentleman standing right there Mr. Trey Kramer. He was we would have never had this opportunity to start this without Trey and his vision, and we so appreciate you, Trey. Thank you. For those, how many of you, this is the first time that you've come to Bizcom? Raise your hands, please. Okay. It's great that we have more people coming in. Trey, we had 145 people signed up today, which was the largest we've had. We've actually had 165 the year before. But it shows how much that original thought that you had, Trey, about developing a sense of community hit the nail on the target. We appreciate that. Also, Dr. Sconzo, without his approval and help, that would have not taken place. But so it's grown since 2009, and we're so appreciative of that. But I had Dwayne come out and Erica Johnson, because here in Texas, did you know that people like to eat? And so that first meeting that Trey and I put together back in 2009, we said, you know, the new high school's over here, we're thinking about getting something started with the community, and we're going to serve Chick-fil-A. I'm there. We had a bunch of people, so Dwayne and Erica, without you, I know that we wouldn't have got this far. Thank you. We really appreciate it. Also, we have another sponsor this year, Gold's Gym, so we get you fat here and send you down there and work you out. This is good. You are smart. This is a good sponsorship for you.
Their parking lot.
What did you say? I didn't catch that.
We're in Chick-fil-A parking lot.
Oh, okay. Boy, y'all are in cahoots. I get this. Okay. And then also HEB Summerwood, a great partner that we've had for a number of years. We're so grateful for them as well. And we're grateful for you being here today. So just a little bit of background. We told you a little bit back in 2009. We started this with just an idea. And when Trey came over and we spoke about this, we both had a similar vision of a growing community, a sense of community. Friday night, shut down, go see the football games type of community. And so when we started having these, the original intent was to bring information to this community so that it was more than just a networking. We wanted to have it where it was going to be something that you got a good return on your investment of time. And so what's happened is over time it's won a statewide award. Now it's across the whole school district in different, every quarter we have one in different high schools. Also, one of the things that was Trey's idea is to put it under the umbrella of the Chamber of Commerce, and we've got all the Chamber of Commerce people over here. Jenna, raise your hand. She is the
President CEO.
Well, you know, those terms, you're wonderful. We appreciate that. And then also Chris and Stephanie, we appreciate you all very, very much. And so it's a terrific situation to be able to come together, and obviously we've got some exciting things I want to talk with you today. If you'll just look at your agenda for a moment. One of the things that we work very hard at is to try and keep things on time. So we got started at 11. At 12 o'clock, if you need to leave, then certainly you can do that. We try and keep the speakers to where it's down to that. And then at 12, there'll be an opportunity, and we hope that you'll be able to stay and be able, because each person will be able to stay and say 30 seconds about their organization or whatever they're involved with. And so that's important. And now one of the things that I did want to mention to you, there is a change or two on this. And one is Mr. Correa had an emergency come up today. He's hoping that he'll be able to come back down a little bit later on, but we've got, I'll tell you about this in just a moment, that we've got here to speak in his place, and we're excited about that. One of the other things that we want to talk about as we have this sense of community is that obviously with things that are going on in the economy, oil prices and so forth, in our community, we have some people that are probably hurting. And so one of the things that one of our original intents with this is to be able to have people be able to communicate with other people. You never know who might be able to help you. You never know what other people are going through. So today, certainly, you'll be able to hear about all these different organizations, but if you get a chance, talk to the people around you. They may be able to help you, or you may be able to help them, and we certainly want you to be able to do that. And one of the things that we put out here today is, I don't know about you, but sometimes people worry. Sometimes they have a hard time sleeping at night. So we put this out here so that you can take a look at that. Now, one of the things that when I first started with this, I wanted to be able to gather around myself people that I could send my friends and clients to that if they needed help. So if you decide that you want to put that down, just turn that back in when you get ready to leave or give it to me. We'll try and hook you up with somebody that can help you in whatever area you're looking for help in. Yes? Chris, do you know if they, was this not on your table? Okay. Do we have any more left on that? Okay. Great, thank you. Thank you for asking. Okay. So one other thing I wanted to mention before we get started is that we have with us today First Sergeant Donnie O'Brien. He is with the Summer Creek High School. He's the head of our award-winning junior ROTC program. They've recently been slated as an honor unit, which is the highest distinction there is.
As you said, I'm First Sergeant Donnie O'Brien. Thank you everybody for coming. I am the senior Army instructor for the Summer Creek Army JROTC program. This program started in 2009, and the program's been going ever since then. The Army JROTC gets inspected about once every 3 years by the United States Army Cadet Command, which is located in Fort Knox, Kentucky. And through that inspection, they determine the level of units. And as we said before, right now, there's only about 1,600 Army JROTC units in the nation. And being under unit distinction, you got to be in the top 5%. So in that top 5% right now, we came out at 96.5%, which puts us in the top 5% of all JROTCs in the nation. And one of the reasons I'm here that I brought 3 of my top cadets here to explain to you how they went about earning that honor unit distinction. You must understand that Army regulation, public law says that we must comply with teaching and learning. And there are certain things that we must do. One of the things that we key on to Summer Creek Army JROTC is community service. And that's one of the things that we do for the community, so they'll be able to explain a little bit more. Following me right now will be my cadet battalion commander.
Morning, I'm Cadet Major William Harris. I'm the battalion commander for Summer Creek High School. I'm 11 for my senior year, so that means I've been in the program for 4 years, since I was a freshman. Some of my duties as battalion commander are to represent the battalion towards school administration, as well as ultimately if I'm responsible for what happens or fails to happen within the program. The Army JROTC mission is to motivate young people to be better citizens. Our goal with the school is to support the educational needs of Summer Creek High School. My role as battalion commander is to increase the number of community service events, so that way cadets have multiple opportunities to increase their civic responsibility and citizenship. Some of the stuff I did for the JRC Program Accreditation, or JPA for short, is to ensure that cadets had high self-esteem, as well as developed strong leadership traits and citizenship. Now following me will be my battalion executive officer.
Hello, I am Cadet Captain Diana Martinez. I'm a third-year cadet, and I'm the battalion executive officer of the Bulldog Battalion. Our battalion consists of 85 males and 48 females, which is a total of 143 cadets. For the JPA, I was in charge of organizing staff meetings once a week for about 2 months straight. And in these meetings, we just put together our presentation, and we also just rehearsed it, and we all came together and helped each other with it. And by the time it came for us to do the JPA, we were completely prepared and confident in what we had been doing, and that allowed us to earn a score of 19 out of 20 for the staff portion of the presentation, which ultimately contributed to us earning a 96.5 in the JPA and earning honor unit with distinction. And at this time, I will now be followed by the cadet command presentation.
My name is Justin Greer. I'm the battalion command sergeant major for the Bulldog Battalion. This year is my 3rd year in ROTC. I'm a junior. My CIP contribution was to basically ensure that all cadets had everything they needed to move into inspection, which was uniforms, grooming, appearance, up to Army standards. Our service learning project this year was Wreaths Across America. If you don't know what that is, that's where we go out to Houston National Cemetery and we lay wreaths on the headstones in honor of our fallen relatives. I think that's about it.
Thank you so much for inviting us here. We're on the website. We did put some business cards and a brochure on the table, so if you need any kind of community service, things like especially color guard, drill team, things of that nature, you need something, you put together an event. I recognize some faces in here already that have been in the community right now. So give us a call. There's 143 of them. We can move in the community. Thank you so much.
We so appreciate you being here. I will say that I've heard so many wonderful things about your program. And I know William very well. I'm very proud of him. You're a fine young man, and I wish we had a whole lot more of you. So thank you all very much for being here. Thank you. Okay, before we get started on the rest of our program, one of the things that we couldn't do this without the people on our advisory board. Would you raise your hand if you're on our Summer Creek High School advisory board? They have been so great to work with. Mr. Correa is great to work with, and also Chris with the chamber, who's doing like triple duty right now, and Stephanie has helped us so many times. We couldn't do this, and thank you so much for all that you do. They're largely responsible for what we're doing today. And then also I wanted to introduce you to recently in our office, we added a new financial advisor, and he's doing a great job. His name is Sean Callahan. We're great. He is actually a retired Army lieutenant. All right. Right.
Veteran, not retired. That means something completely different.
Next time I'm going to say this is Sean. He just got out. And then you can explain what the service means. Okay. Above embarrassing myself. Not really. Okay. So unless you've been under a rock, you've noticed that there's a lot of growth around here, haven't you? Okay. One of the things, and this is something a little bit on the, it is on the solemn side, but also something to celebrate. Last month when we came, we talked about a year and a half, 2 years ago, we were so honored because we had two people that have made such an incredible difference in this area. Because if you're not familiar, say 20, 30 years ago, the only way, according to Mr. McCord, Rick McCord, the only way to get to this area was either by horseback or helicopter. And so he had a vision back, Rick, was it in 1980s? Yeah, 1980s. And so we were so blessed because we had him come that day. And then also that day we had Commissioner Al Franco lead here. And so I'll never forget that day. I'll never forget the way they kind of bantered back and forth. It was amazing. But what I saw in those two men that were dedicated to serving this community. Last month, unfortunately, I had to share the fact that Rick McCord had lost his 15-month battle with cancer. And as many of you know, on January 3rd this year, Commissioner Lee passed away also. So today we honor them because this is what they worked for. To have people come and want to call this home. And I think that's what's happening. Wouldn't you say, Rick? Yeah. So we just want to keep those families in our prayer. But one of the things, the McCord development and we're going to have them speak in just a few minutes. But one of the things that they had this vision of turning that 4,000 acres into something special. And as you know, FMC Technologies, if you haven't driven down the Beltway, if you haven't seen this, which guys, sometimes I miss things, open your eyes when you're going that way and look to the right. You're going to see a beautiful place. So today we're honored. Bob Sullivan is with FMC Technologies. He's come to here and tell us as our new neighbor. Please give him a round of applause. If I knew a story to tell back on the web, I'd do it, but I don't know what it is.
on the bottom.
I can make one up.
Right.
It's up to you. All right, thank you, sir. Appreciate it.
All right. Thank you, Don, and thank you for letting FMC have the opportunity to share a little bit about our company. I have 17 slides, and Don's given me 15 minutes, so you can do the math, and I'm going to kind of keep it high level hopefully leave a little time at the end for any questions you may have. I want to do three things. One is just introduce you to FMC Technologies if you haven't heard of us. The second, talk about our Generation Park project, which is the campus that we've been building here and we just took possession of. And third, give you a little insight into the number of employees and the timing of them coming into the area as they're going to be, part of the community here. So just quickly, FMC is a big multinational company, Fortune 500 in 2014, about $8 billion of sales. 2015 numbers aren't out yet. If you're interested, next week our earnings release will come out. I guess this is the time in the program I'll mention, though, that we're a company that provides equipment and services to the oil and gas industry, particularly in the drilling of wells and the control of the production from those wells. And as you know, over the last year and a half or so, oil price has gone from $110 a barrel to about $30 a barrel. So that's more than 70% reduction. That means our customers don't have that cash coming in. They're cutting costs, they're cutting projects. That affects all the oil service companies and our suppliers as well. So it's been a tough time for us over the last year and a half as we're kind of going through this. And the industry discussion is lower for longer. It's going to take a bit of time before the market comes back, but it will come back. And so we're working through that. We're trying to get efficient so that when it does come back, we're a stronger, more competitive company. We've got about 18,000 employees globally, and plants and facilities all over the world where there's oil and gas production. We have three main areas of the business. The largest is what we call subsea equipment. So this is the products used on the seabed offshore for drilling and production. Very high technology equipment. That's about 2/3 of our business. And then about 1/4 of the business is equipment that is used similarly for on the surface, just land applications and offshore platforms. And on the right you can see some of that equipment. I don't know how clear it is. At the top is a big subsea Christmas tree, we call it. That's a series of valves that control production. You can see on the left of that picture, it's a men, so you see the size of that equipment compared to those people. Typically one of those units has over 5,000 parts and weighs over 100,000 pounds. And that's going to be run down 10,000 feet to the seafloor, so that's 2 miles. So it's got to be pretty high reliability equipment. The second picture over there is a typical U.S. Land equipment. This just shows the biggest part of our business is the subsea section, as I just mentioned, and the Generation Park facility, which I'll talk about in a moment, was largely developed to support our subsea services business. I'll talk more about that. So I'm showing you of our $8 billion, over $5 billion is subsea. And you can see the geographic spread of our sales. It's all across the world, and we have major facilities across the world to support that, including here in Houston. And we pride ourselves to be a very high technology company. So, like I said, the sophistication and the reliability, integrity of this equipment is very high, kind of space standards. And there's a timeline here from 2001 to 2014. We were spun out of FMC Corporation in 2001. That's why we have this timeline. And really what it shows is increasing level of sophistication of this equipment over time. We worked with BP, we worked with Chevron, shown there, Petrobras, which is the Brazilian oil company, Shell, and others. And over time, the equipment has been developed to control oil and gas flow for higher and higher pressures and temperatures. So now we're in a joint development project with a number of oil companies for equipment that controls 20,000 pound pressure of flow and up to 400 degrees. So this is an overview of our Generation Park project. And really, over the years, we've grown a lot in the Houston area. So we are presently in about 11 sites throughout Houston. It's all north of Beltway 8 and mostly between I-45 and 249. So, about 15, 20 miles west of here. So we're a very fragmented company as we grew. And the vision of Generation Park and this campus was to create a an FMC campus where we could, within a 10-year period, consolidate all of those 11 facilities into a single campus that could make us more effective and efficient, support our customers better, and be a great place for our employees to work. So there are a lot of amenities and thought built into the whole design and completion of this, this site. So we've just finished the first phase. We bought 173 acres. We just completed the first phase, which is 73 acres, and took possession of that on January 20th. So we're brand new to the site. This shows an overview of it. So you can see in the front, there's a large office complex, a parking lot behind it, which has room for 2,000 cars. And all around the campus there are various industrial buildings. So our subsea services business, well, I'll take a step back. So FMC designs and manufactures various components of subsea fields as well as surface fields. And part of that, though, is we deliver them, we have to install them, we have to maintain them. As they age, they come back. We have to take them back, refurbish them, test them, and get them back into operations with the oil company. So a lot of these buildings are intended to be for the inspection and repair and testing of various components of these subsea fields. And each of those buildings focuses on particular of our products. In the very back there is a very large warehouse, an indoor warehouse. So a lot of what we do with our customers is store their property. We also have to store inventory that we use to repair the equipment. I think there's something like 1.2 billion, or million, sorry, not billion, million square feet in this complex. And I'd like to recognize here another FMC colleague of mine whose name is Terry Bell. Terry, could you say hello? Terry was one of the key project managers on the project. We had basically 4 key leaders of the project. Terry was one of them. And so he's the guy that helped design and oversee the construction of this, and he knows all the details of it. If anyone's got any tricky questions, I'll end up deferring to him. Right. But you can see in the corners here, we've designed it to be very environmentally conscious. I won't get into the details of that. We've tried to make it very safe. So if you look here, in the inside is a main promenade or walkway, so there's no vehicular traffic. All the employees can walk between any of those buildings without seeing traffic. Truck traffic, it all goes in the top part of the campus by the warehouse, and on the right side is the employee entrance that drives into the parking lot. So there's a lot of ergonomic things that we've designed in terms of stand-up desks, lighting, building control systems to be efficient, and then in the lower right, a lot of amenities, high-level connectivity, common meeting areas for employees, a fitness center in there, not as big as Gold's, just a little one. Cafeteria, a little medical clinic, game rooms, some things that we hope will attract people to FMC and help retain those employees with us. Here's a picture of the office building on the top. This isn't coming through too well. That's a nighttime picture of that promenade. And in terms of the transition, we've got a group of 50 employees who are acting as move coordinators as we move people from the rest of the campus over. I failed to mention on the earlier slide, we anticipate moving 1,500 people over to the campus by mid-year. So they're going to help coordinate that with the various departments. This is an overview of this subsea products. The top is a typical system that's on a seafloor. All those yellow things are trees that control an individual well. There's flow lines that connect all the flow between them, and then it goes up to the surface for processing or export, and some of the equipment on the bottom. This is a cutaway of one of the buildings, the industrial buildings. This is where we would store customers' trees and also do the refurbishment of them. There's a lot of special features in terms of crane capacity and ability to move things around, and safety for high-pressure water and high-pressure gas testing to test the integrity of the products. This was the first delivery of one of these trees from one of our other Houston sites to the Generation Park site, so that was a notable event for us. This is another building which is focused on the tools that are used to actually go down to retrieve equipment on the seafloor and bring them back up. So there's a lot of specialty tools. This is focused on the repair of those. We had a visitor. We're getting lots of visitors now that we're in. I should say that we only have about 30 or 40 people in the site. They're really the facilities, maintenance people, getting things ready, getting all these cafeteria and other services up, getting the receiving stuff ready for all this other equipment and people to come in. But we did have Congressman Ted Poe visit us a couple of weeks ago, and I think he's your congressman right in this area. So that was nice to have him. He's very supportive of our efforts. And now here's the number of people and the timing of people coming over that you might be interested in, because certainly FMC is going to want, services and products from the community. And so the first part of the move was just getting established. In February, later in February into March, the first 200 employees will come in. There's a lot of jargon there about our different departments, but for this purpose, 200 will come in February, March, then another wave of 200. Then in April is the big blast. That's when a lot of the office employees come in. The first employees are more of the shop employees. And then later in the year, and these are more the industrial and office people that support those activities. In June, we're going to have about 200 people from our information technologies department come over, and then after that, our service technologies staff. And if you look at the type of jobs that are in here, it's the whole range of engineering, project management, service technicians, service management, shop people, logistics people, accounting support, HR. So there's a really broad range of positions that are going to be moving over. And then just to close it out, we've got a couple slides which are fun facts. I won't go through all that, but a campus of this size has a ton of paving, of steel, of water, of air conditioning capacity. And when you get into more arcane things, I kind of like the 13,000 light fixtures. Terry's been involved in a lot of those. Over 1,000 miles of cabling, so the amount of IT wiring, connectivity, and I can't even describe it well, right? It's just massive. And so that was quite a large part of the overall project. And what's not on there is, and one of my favorites too, is I think the number in terms of the landscaping of the site, there's 60,000 little plants, bushes, and trees to make that look good. So that's that was quite a contract to the company that got that.
Yeah.
So basically this concludes the presentation. We've got our flags flying as of the first day, including our FMC Technologies flag. And I just wanted to say, all the people that we've met and worked with in the area during our construction has been fantastic. We want to be an active part of the community. We're going to have 1,500 people here. Some of our employees actually live in the area now. A good portion of our employees live in Spring and Cypress, although they're scattered all over the Houston metropolitan area, but a large concentration are in those two areas. And so we're hoping that the opening of the Grand Parkway will make that extra commute a little more easy. But over time, I would expect some people may be leaving the company, and we would be hiring from closer to the site. Don mentioned too that there may be an interest of what what's our hiring going on now. So honestly, we've been in more of a shrinking mode here for the last year. However, there's always some amount of turnover, so there's always some amount of positions that we're looking for. And so there should be some opportunities locally, even though we have a tough market circumstance. And then over time, as we go back, we We believe the market will come back. We're in a strong position. We have about a 40% market share in this market segment. The services business is going to continue to flourish in the future because we have a big installed base of equipment and an ever-growing, that it's aging. So, that's, it helps it be more sustainable type of business. So with that, I don't know how I did on my 15 minutes, but you didn't kick me off. You didn't play the music on me anyway.
That's right.
So,
Any questions?
any questions? Yes?
I just have one. How many people, once you're up and running and settled in, will be at your work site a day?
Over here?
Yeah.
Yeah, on this first wave, 1,500 by July.
So 1,500 every day?
Yeah, so, well, I don't know. We're going to experiment with some telecommuting. There's always people that are traveling, but I would say a large proportion of that, if I had to guess, it would be 80–90% are here on any given day. Yeah.
Are most of your 1,500 people local, or they're being moved into the area?
No, they would all be from existing FMC sites that are already in Houston. They're not coming from other places.
That was my question. They need some place to stay, some hotels in the area, something like that?
Well, we will certainly have, Houston is our corporate headquarters. So we have about 3,000 people in Houston, so about half of our population is moving here. We still will maintain our corporate headquarters for some time. The next phases of building it out are all on hold. We're not going forward with any of that now. We've got to really see what the market conditions are and our needs, et cetera. So half of our whole Houston population will be here. But that will cause a lot of visitors from all over to come here, and there will be need for hotels and food and things like that.
Last one?
Are your field service guys currently using cell phone tablet technology as their go-between with corporate?
I'm probably not the best guy to answer that question. But there's various initiatives to do that and make it more user-friendly. We have gotten a new CIO just in December who's very progressive in terms of how we can be using IT to be more efficient with our whole workforce. And so I'm sure there's a new look and open-mindedness to really taking advantage of technology in the field for our service guys.
And the school district, Mr. Price, could you stand up or raise your hand, please? And anybody else, the administrators from Elmville ISD here today besides Trey Kramer that left? Okay, we're so glad you all are here. And one of the things, keep standing for just a minute if you don't mind. What I'd like y'all to do, it's good to see you, by the way. So, also, we have elected officials' offices being represented here. Would you mind standing? I know Dave Martin's office is here. Also, Commissioner Cagle. Also, Man's office. Okay, very good. And then Robert, Robert Sitton, he is the president of the Chamber of Commerce. He's on the school board. He's an Edward Jones financial advisor, Dad. Great guy. Is there anything else that you do? Okay. Okay, so any of our other, I wanted to show you just people here are excited about you being here. And so we are too. Thank you for coming. When you have a situation like this, one of the things I wanted to say, what a blessing this is. Because when you have a community like this, and you have companies coming in, McCord Developments, Rick Yarborough, right here, raise your hand if you don't mind, in a minute or two we'll have Ian come up. They have been terrific. From day one, when they came in, I remember Ryan said to me, what can we do to help your community? The same thing has gone on with FMC Technologies. And Mr. Bell, we're so glad you're here. And one of the other people that has been absolutely fantastic to work with has been a gentleman named Bob Mulgrave. Bob Mulgrave, they actually talked him in to not retiring for a couple of years so he could do this project, and he has just been a true gentleman. Every person that I've met from FMC Technologies is top-notch. So we've got great neighbors and more coming. And so with that thought in mind, Ian, can you start your way up here? Now, Ian also serves as a model, but while he's coming up, I did want to mention something to you guys. I don't know if you can see this tie. This is a Valentine's Day tie. Okay? Am I making myself clear? You know, because guys, you can sometimes maybe get a little slack on birthdays, but when they got places selling flowers on the corner, you cannot sell it. You just can't figure that out. So I'm trying to give you a reminder. So Ian, if you don't mind, would you tell them what your position is now, and please give him a round of applause.
For McCord Development and Generation Park. I started with the group in November of last year, and ever since then I've been drinking from a water hose. So it's a fire hydrant, I guess, is the verbiage. But it's been a lot of fun. I'm here today to give you guys a quick overview. I think I got like 5 minutes to go over what's happened since the last Bizcom. There's been a lot. FMC was talking about their campus. They built this stuff right here, and they've got all this and all this to go. So it's a good start. We're glad to have them. They talked about moving their first employees in, and we were super excited about that. It's a big deal for us. Just 3 weeks ago, we broke ground on Redemption Square's infrastructure. And I don't know if you guys are familiar with it, but it's a corporate lifestyle district. It's this whole stretch. It's about 52 acres, and we broke ground on the first 25 acres this week for all the roads that are going in. And with that, it's about $5 million in development costs. We talked about needing for a hotel, I believe is what it was. We are under contract for a Courtyard Marriott, which should be number 5 here. That should break ground the next couple months, I believe, if that's right, Rick. Opening in 2017. We are also going to be breaking ground on McCord's headquarters, 85,000 square foot multi-use building. It's 5 stories. The first floor is about 15,000 square feet of retail. We're hoping to have 4 top-notch restaurants in there to serve the community. And then we're going to take part of the floor, and then we have, I think, 65,000 square feet of office that we're leasing out, and we're almost, hopefully, at 100% capacity with that one. Outside of that, we have 2 universities or colleges that are going to be part of the campus. I don't know if you guys knew about that last time we were here. Lone Star College is under the design right now of a 55,000 square foot advanced technology center. They're going to be, I think, breaking ground later this year, I believe. And then San Jacinto College in November got a $425 million bond passed to refurbish existing buildings as well as build new stuff. And Rick, do you know how many acres they have with us?
They have 56 acres.
56 acres. I think they're going to serve 8,000 students is what they're going to have here once they're all said and done. So, we have a lot of activity going on, and then more on the getting around fun stuff. We've pretty much finished number 14 up there, which is our 20-acre Westlake. It's got, I think, 3/4 of a mile of walking, biking trails, bridges that go over the lake, a nice water wall. We're going to be putting in landscaping pretty soon, so you guys can all enjoy it. Go for a nice stroll around. And then another big thing in partnership with Harris County Precinct 1 is Lockwood Road. I don't know if you guys have driven on in the past, but it used to be a 2-lane county road, and it's now going to be a 4-lane boulevard. So, pretty exciting stuff. That's what I got. Any questions or anything?
How many students did you say?
Lone Star is going to have, I don't know what Lone Star's total count, maybe 1,000 or 2,000. And then San Jacinto is 8,000 once they're done with their entire project.
Question, Ren?
Anyone?
Did you have a question?
The park that you talked about?
Yep.
Did you say, is that open yet, or no?
You can walk around it, but the bridges are closed, I believe, at the moment.
The bridges ought to be open in the next couple of weeks. They're just finalized
Yeah. But yeah, you can walk around, it's great. The lake's got water in it, the water wall's flowing. It's
Are you just hoping for restaurants, or do you have anything?
We have 4 under letter of intent right now.
Okay.
So hopefully the next couple of weeks we'll have some announcements to go out. But we are, as part of our grant scheme for Redemption Square, sorry for going over time, we are going to have about 275,000 square feet of retail space. So we are looking to bring in more Houston focused restaurants and businesses. So if you guys have any ideas, we're open to. You know, we love the local flair.
Will these actually get to be sit-down restaurants and not
Yes.
so much fast food stuff?
Yeah, in our approach, we're going to have at least one full-service, nice restaurant, and then some other more casual restaurants. They're all no fast food in our current days.
We'll have to make this the last one. Go ahead. All right. With FMC saying that they were predicting about 1,500 people to be in their facility, and you said with Lone Star it's going to be closer to about, you said 8,000?
No, San Jacinto.
About how much flow do you expect there to be in the entire complex? Like once everything is said and done, how much flow is that going to be bringing into the area in any one day?
Flows in people traffic?
Yes, people traffic.
That's hard to guess. I mean,
Our preliminary numbers for the entire campus is we can see up to 200 to a quarter million people residing in Generation Park. That's 30 years down the road, but that gives you the magnitude of what we're talking about.
in case on Generation Park's a 4,000 acre development. We're only on 500 acres right now. So.
Thank you. Give him a round of applause. Without the bell, Rick, say it again, please.
Upward to 200 to 250,000 people within the entire Generation Park.
Okay. So we're talking massive, and so that's where we're working on it. One of the things I wanted to say, Rick, if you don't mind raising your hand, Rick Yarborough is your vice president now of everything, right?
Governmental affairs.
Okay. So Rick, you've been so good to work with, and I appreciate you very much. So. One of the things that I wanted to mention before we go on, there's two people I wanted to highlight. Barbara Proband, if you don't mind raising your hand. She does the notes that we can get out, and Gerard, we appreciate you so much also. And then also Sam Schrade, thank you for always being here and filming that. So now, I'm delighted. You know, one of the things that's so cool about living in this community and getting to do what I do is I get to meet new friends all the time. And a new friend this past year, is a gentleman named Doug Earl, who's with Houston Golf Association. And also, he's got with him today Lori Butler. But Doug's going to come today and talk about two projects that are extremely important to our community and to his heart. Please give them both a round of applause.
Good afternoon, y'all. It's a little bit dangerous having y'all eat and then keep you awake. But I'm going to try to do that in my 5 minutes of time. I want to introduce a colleague of mine, Lori Butler. She is our new Director of Finance and Accounting. She knows all the numbers, or someday she'll know all the numbers, at any rate. I'm here to talk to y'all about the Shell Houston Open. Very few communities have a chance to have a pro sport event in their backyard. This area is very unique in having that opportunity. How many of y'all have ever been to the Shell Houston Open? A whole bunch of y'all. I want to invite y'all back to the Shell Houston Open this year, March 31st through April 3rd. How many of y'all have never been to the Shell Houston Open? Okay, I want to invite y'all to the Shell Houston Open on March 31st through April 3rd. And I've got 10 reasons why I want to make that invitation to y'all. You get to see the #1 golfer in the world, Jordan Spieth. He's a Texan. Yay! There'll be some other players, but they really don't matter. Jordan Spieth is going to be here. Bill Mickelson will be here, probably Ricky Fowler, and Rick Stenson. There'll be lots of good players, but Jordan Spieth will be here. All right. You'll get to see, like I said, the best golfers in the world. You'll get to be within a few feet of the best golfers in the world. Whether you like golf or not, getting to be within a few feet of Jordan Spieth is a very special thing, especially if you're a female. You get to have fun outdoors on a Thursday or a Friday or a Saturday or a Sunday. Did I say it's March 31st through April 3rd? Okay, all right, just want to make that clear. Your kids or grandkids get to get autographs from Jordan Spieth and the best golfers in the world. Behind the actual golf holes, there's a whole row of vendors. You can sign up for lots of cool prizes. Now, you probably get on some mailing lists if you do that, but there's a chance to win lots of cool prizes if you do that. Did I mention if you're 13 or under, you get in free? If you're 13 and under, you get in free. So if you've got kids or grandkids, bring them to the Shell Houston Open, March 31st through April 3rd. It's a great family event. There'll be lots of people out there. Last year we had about 150,000 people attend the Shell Houston Open. And a lot of those people come from out of town. How many of y'all are in the hotel and entertainment food industry? Oh, well, you're gonna make some money. Yes, ma'am. Okay. All right. Really, the best part about the Shell Houston Open is the charity that is provided. Over $2.3 million in charitable funds goes out to local Houston area youth organizations. And I've got to say, as executive director of the First Tee of Greater Houston, the contribution that we get is totally meaningful. We would not exist without the contribution from the Shell Houston Open. So I want to make sure y'all feel invited. Now, even if you don't like golf, you can support the First Tee by coming to the Shell Houston Open. When is it? March 31st through April 3rd, right? Okay. All right. How many of y'all are part of a nonprofit organization, either on staff or on a volunteer basis? Okay. We have a program called Birdies for Charity. You don't have to do anything except pick up money from people. If they contribute $20 or more to your organization, they get to guess how many birdies will be made during the Shell Houston Open, March 31st through April 3rd. If they get it right, they win a trip for two anywhere in the country. All right? At least the plane tickets. Okay. So, you don't have to run, you don't have to swim, you don't have to do any, you don't have to have a walk-a-thon. You just collect money from people. That's all you've got to do. All right. Now, locally, the First Tee of Greater Houston, in 2015, we served over 15,000 young people. And our whole chapter in the Greater Houston area, we served 263,000 young people. Our 5-year plan has us providing programming for 500,000 kids in the Greater Houston area. So, that's a lot of kids. We need y'all's support. Please come to the Shell Houston Open. When is it? Y'all are good. Thank you very much. And we've got, if somebody's interested in the charities program, we have pamphlets for y'all.
And I was a little bit concerned that Doug might be too shy to get up here. But one thing I did want to say, Doug has also agreed to be on our advisory board. So one of the things that we see with companies and groups out here is they're so willing to be a part of the community. We appreciate that very much. Also, another person I wanted to announce, Jennifer Summers, raise your hand from the Observer. We appreciate you so much. You've helped us so much. Okay, yeah, if you go down that, well, let me see, I can't figure out which way. If you're going down toward North Shore, you see FMC Technologies. But if you go up Fall Creek Way to 59, you might see that big old building on the side over there with those. That's cool, because we've got a gentleman here. And now, let me just give you a time element. We're running a little bit tight on time. We'll probably go about 5 minutes over. So if you have to leave at noon, please do so. Hopefully you can stay, so that you'll be able to announce the things that you do in the community. But right now, I wanted to introduce Mr. Rob Warrens with Showbiz Cinema Director of Operations.
Can you guys hear me? Okay. I wanted to introduce the GM that we've already hired for this location. He actually comes from our location up in Kingwood, so he's local to the area, knows the business very well. We're very excited to have him on board. Real quick, he actually is just now starting to do the hiring up there, so if you have some teenagers that need a job this year. I know my kids need jobs, so I'm hoping your kids are going to need a job too. He's just started taking some applications. We will have a trailer on site starting next week where people can apply in person. We have a website where they can go out and apply online. Some things that I want to tell you about our location. It's been a while, I think, since we presented here. It's a 65,000 square foot building. It started off a little bit smaller, but we decided to expand the game area. And so that added a little bit of time to the construction. So now we're on track for the first week of April. And so that's still, you know how construction is. It could get pushed by a week or, you know, one way or the other. But right now, it looks like it's going to be on track for that first week of April. The location is going to have 14 bowling lanes in it. It has 10 theaters. One of those theaters will be our premium large format, which is our SDX auditorium, which has a 70-foot wall-to-wall screen, floor-to-ceiling, Dolby Atmos sound. I mean, we have one at Kingwood, so I don't know if any of you ever attend that theater, but it's quite the experience if you go in that auditorium. And so we're very excited about it. We also have a cafe there, which will be serving the bowling lanes. You can also pick up food there, take it to the auditoriums. Basic food that you would think for an entertainment center: pizzas, burgers, sandwiches, a lot of appetizers and finger foods. We also have a coffee bar, an ice cream bar there at the cafe. And of course, a full walk-through concession stand to grab your stuff on your way to the movies as well. So, you know, we're really excited about being a part of this area. When I started with the company, we've just taken over the Kingwood location, and now we've got a lot of expansion in Houston. It's really becoming, even though we're based out of Dallas, I spend more time in Houston these days because we've got a lot of projects happening. You know, I just can't even begin to tell you how excited we are that it's getting this close, and I hope you guys are excited about it too. If anybody has a couple of quick questions, I'll be happy to answer that. Anyone?
Well, it's a comment. We've got some very good realtors in here if you decide to move down.
But I was down here for almost a year, and then I moved back up to Dallas. But who knows? I mean, I can tell you that we're going to be expanding so much down here. We will be adding extra positions to this market. In fact, this building right here is going to have some extra offices in it for people that'll be servicing in other locations. So, yes.
I know this is, are you guys going to be expanding anymore? I know you just put in the SDS, but foods.
Sounds really good.
Yeah, she's asking about expanding the Kingwood location. The Kingwood location, we've already maxed out our footprint there. And actually, one of the reasons why we wanted to come down here is we did a zip code survey and found that about 20% of our business were people that were driving from down here. And that's why this made it a prime location for us to move into. So, you know, this is a very a big step that we took, and we put a lot of thought into it. I think it's going to be a great step for us, and hopefully for you guys as well.
And for my family and I, we actually love going to showbiz. And one of the things that they have is they have these big tubs that you can buy and get your popcorn for not very much and drinks. And we love going over there. So he doesn't even hear that. He'll have to charge you later. Okay. All right, so coming up right now, we've got some other announcements that I think you're going to be very, very excited about. Did any of you have seniors in high school here at Summer Creek High School? Okay, so I'd like to ask Kyle Urey to come up for just a moment, and then right behind America, could you be where you're going to be close to? And then also John, also. Okay, Kyle.
Guys, first of all, I want to thank these guys as they're walking out the door. Rob has probably saved us, how much? $8,000 to $10,000. Rob has saved us about $8,000 to $10,000 in project graduation. So $8,000 to $10,000. These guys are good community partners. Support their business. It's going to be awesome. It's the first year that we're actually going to have project graduation. That Milton, I think you started years ago. But I think it's the first time we're going to have it off-site, and the kids are excited. Everybody's excited. Just quick update. We need more Milton Petersons to step up and donate for prizes. I'm looking at the Keller girls right now too. Milton with Caldwell Bankers has already stepped up. He's helped us with prizes. Any of you guys, Dr. Miller, any of you guys that have business, Mr. CrossFit over here, I know you've already said you will. Let me call you guys out, but anybody, we need TVs, laptops, Sean, I see you. We need anything that to donate for door prizes, and that's what we need. Get with my lovely assistant over here, Miss Angie, stand up and tell us more about anything else you've got. That's my update. We need prizes. We've got it all figured out. We've got the food figured out. We need prizes. If you own a business, know somebody that has a business.